Hi there, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, please do me a big favor. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really would appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell so that you're notified about my newest video. Thank you so much. And so here's an update on my portfolio. As you guys can see, once again, we are in the green. And here's the dividends. There's the annual. A little bit over 68,000 on an annual basis, and just a bit about over $5,700 on a monthly basis. And so if we go to my actual Robinhood portfolio, I have made some changes to my portfolio here. I've been selling the Yieldmax ETFs. Okay, so I sold some NVDY today. As a matter of fact, I think I sold the whole thing, NVDY, from Yieldmax, the NVIDIA options income strategy ETF from Yieldmax. So since I am getting the dividend, there it is, $135.96. I decided to sell it off, so I sold the whole thing today. Here it is. The limit sell. Here's actually the two limit sells, one on the 9th and one on the 12th, which is today. So I ended up selling the whole thing, and I am instead going to buy NVDW. So as you guys can see here, I have NVDW here, and here's my limit buy order for NVDW. Obviously, I don't really want to buy it right at this moment. I prefer to buy it on a day when the market is down or when this goes into the red. And so I've been thinking about it for some time, and I think I'm going to switch from Yieldmax ETFs to Roundhill ETFs. I personally think they're just a bit better, because if we look at the 3-month track record of this is up without dividends. Okay. This doesn't take into consideration dividends. It's just the price line chart here on Robinhood. And currently this is up 11.26%, or $4.86. While if we look at NVDY, past 3 months, it is up 0.40%, or 0.06 cents. Okay, so there's a big difference there. This also does not include dividends. So there is a big difference there. The Roundhill version of this has appreciation, because that doesn't even take into account dividends. So I know that if you own NVDY and you reinvest dividends, that you're positive. You have a positive return in total return. But if you're not reinvesting dividends and the price is just going, it's not appreciating, then that's kind of that seems to me to be somewhat inferior to NVDW, which has appreciation and has a dividend, right? So this has appreciation and it's going to pay a dividend, and so that's why I am starting to switch over, selling my Yieldmax ETFs and buying Roundhill ETFs. And of course, the one that I'm really waiting for is WPay. Here it is, WPay. And so WPay will contain every single stock ETF from Roundhill. So basically, it's somewhat similar to YMAX. Right? YMAX contains all of the single stock ETFs from Yieldmax. But one thing that I remember is that when all of these Yieldmax single stock ETFs started to come out, a lot of people were really happy about the high dividends, or the yield, very high yields. But soon after, people started to complain about the fact that it doesn't the value, it doesn't retain its value, right? You buy it and it doesn't retain its value. It goes down in value. Yeah, they're paying you a large dividend. And yeah, in total return, it's positive. But nonetheless, I mean, it's going down in value. It's not keeping up with the stock, right? NVDY is not keeping up with NVDA. And NVDW seems to be keeping up with NVDA, which is the stock NVIDIA. And so there was a lot of complaints, from people on YouTube, Reddit, and different forums about how the dividends are great from Yieldmax. They're really high, but the erosion is terrible, right? The value is going down. And that was way before Roundhill came out with their own ETFs, their own single stock ETFs. I'm assuming that probably the people at Roundhill must have heard the complaints of the people who initially bought the Yieldmax ETFs. And, they must have decided to make something that is that's better, in my opinion. Because when you read the description of the Roundhill single stock ETFs, their objective is both income and growth. And so that sounds far better than the Yieldmax single stock ETFs, which have just their objective of pure income, trying to pay you the absolute highest amount that they can pay you. And turns out after you add up the payments from like NVDY and NVDW, turns out NVDW is actually paying you more than NVDY. Okay, I can show you guys that it's actually paying more. So turns out that the Roundhill ETFs are actually paying more than the Yieldmax ETFs so far as I can tell, and they have appreciation. And so let's look at so far a comparison of WPay and YMAX. So WPay hasn't been around for very long. It hasn't even been around for a whole month. Okay, so let's just do a 1 week comparison. So this is up 2.44%, or just about $1.28. Now I know that it's not exactly like Yieldmax, but I guess that would be the comparison. How is Yieldmax doing? Because basically this is somewhat of the same idea. WPay contains all of the Roundhill single stock ETFs. I believe there are about 15 ETFs. And YMAX has all of the YMAX single stock ETFs, right from Yieldmax. And so this is 1 week of WPay. So how is Yieldmax been doing for the past week? Let's take a look at that. Or YMAX, sorry, YMAX. So in the past week, as you guys can see, YMAX is actually positive 0.61%. Okay, so not too bad. It's positive in the week, but it's not as good as WPay. And still don't know how much WPay is gonna actually pay, but so far as you guys can see, WPay in the short amount of time that it has existed is outperforming YMAX. And of course, if WPay would have started when YMAX would have started, I am pretty sure that that WPay would probably not look like this. Whereas YMAX, I mean, without taking into consideration dividends, this is in the red, 26.97%. Of course, if we look at the total return chart, it's in the positive. I don't know by how much, but I'm pretty sure it's in the positive because of dividend reinvestment. But if you want to own something and not have to reinvest dividends, right? How about owning something that pays you something and not having to reinvest dividends at all, right? Something like that, for example, would be QQQI from Neos. As you guys can see, this is in the positive for me. I mentioned it in my previous video. It's even higher than in my previous video. If I sell it now, it's close to $5,800, and a capital gain that I would make if I sold it. And so I haven't had to reinvest any dividends whatsoever into QQQI, and it's appreciated, and it's paying me a dividend every month. No decay, just appreciation, and it's actually paying me the dividend. Okay, I know that those other ones are paying you a dividend also, but there's depreciation in value. This has appreciated in value and paid me a dividend. SPY, same deal. This has appreciated in value and paid me a consistent dividend. So yeah, there's a big difference in between these two. And so I did do a small comparison of WPay and YMAX. As you guys can see here, hopefully you can see it, YMAX is purple and WPay is blue. And this is in the past 5 days. So just in the past 5 days, WPay is outperforming YMAX. And so this may be a good time to start maybe getting out of YMAX. I don't know. I think I'm going to start getting out of YMAX, of Yieldmax, and start getting into WPay. And so what I'm thinking of doing moving forward here is I think I'm going to sell both these two positions down here, these two, YMAX and Ulti. As you guys can see, I got quite a large amount of cash in those two. Let's look. YMAX, I've got $14,000 in YMAX, and I've got about $13,000 in Ulti. And so what I think I'm going to do, as soon as WPay, once WPay is lowered its margin requirements, it's 100% right now. I'm assuming that it's going to go down to 30. Once that happens, I'm probably going to sell all of my YMAX and all of my Ulti and just go with WPay. And so if you guys would like to see me do that in the future, maybe in next month, or whenever this goes down to 30%, if you guys want to see me do that in the future and continue to see me grow my portfolio, please do me a big favor, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really would appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. You guys have a great day. God bless. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.